In this lesson, we're going to discuss the agency problem. Earlier, when we were discussing forms of business organization, we said that one of the disadvantages of a corporation is the agency problem. And we said that it occurs because there's a separation of owners and managers. They're not the same people. Owners have hired managers to represent their interest. And that's the agency relationship. In an agency relationship, a principal hires an agent to represent that principal's interest. So another way of saying that when we're talking about the shareholder firm manager relationship is that these shareholders or stockholders have hired managers to manage their firm and to look after the stockholders' interest. The agency problem occurs when there's a conflict of interest between stockholders and managers. It happens because the managers are not owners. So an example of when this can occur is when a manager may have different options for projects to pursue. Option 1 may involve losses for the first few quarters, but may have very high payoffs in later years, and so it may have a really high value. Option 2 may involve profits immediately, but maybe they're small profits, so it has a smaller value. If the owner was making the decision, they'd probably choose option 1 because it has the higher overall value and they're willing to incur those losses for the first few quarters. However, the manager may be worried about their compensation and can even be worried about their position if they show continuous losses for the next few quarters. So they may opt for option 2 because it increases the firm value, but notice it doesn't maximize the firm value. Option 1 would have maximized the firm value. So what happens is the manager could be making decisions that are increasing firm value, just not maximizing it. And it's because they have conflicting interests. They're interested in their compensation, they're interested in keeping their position, and so they may not necessarily make the decisions that are in the interest of the stockholders and maximizing value. In order to align managers' interests with their own, shareholders bear what are called agency costs. So these are costs that are incurred by the shareholders in order to align managers' interests with their own. So this could be, for example, stock compensation, it could be options, and other bonuses. Every now and then on the news, we do hear about some bad actors not acting in shareholder interests, but most managers actually do act in shareholder interests because there are other factors that align their interests. So one could be the compensation they receive, which are those agency costs that shareholders are bearing. So again, shareholders can use incentives to align the manager's interests with their own. These do need to be carefully structured to make sure that the interests are aligned and the system isn't being gamed. There's also the threat of a takeover. If managers aren't making decisions that maximize firm value, then the share price can be lower than it should be, and different groups may recognize that, buy large interest in the firm, and elect a board of directors that can better maximize firm value. There are also other stakeholders that may be interested in the firm, so it could be community members, could be advocate groups, could be regulatory bodies, or politicians that are interested in the goings-on in the firm. And overall, managers do want to be known as good managers. It does increase their compensation if they're known as good managers. It also increases their job prospects. So maybe they could find a higher paying, more powerful position at another firm or be recruited to a higher paying, more powerful position at another firm if they are known for being good managers. So yes, sometimes we do hear that some managers are bad actors, but overall, most managers do try to care for the owner incentives and maximize the firm value.